What's up, heathens? How y'all doing? Today we're actually going to be talking with Chrismer, and Chrismer, which I'm emphasizing that because it took me so long to get his name correct, his online moniker at least. So we're going to be talking to him today. He was actually he is a former Mormon. We're going to be talking about how he left the faith, what his relationship was like, in his early life with religion, and just what that experience was for him. So we're going to be talking about that today. If you're interested in these types of interviews or discussions, then please stay tuned. All right, so Chrismer, how are you doing today?
I'm doing just fine.
That's good. I'm glad you're doing good. I know we had previous times set up and just things kept, getting in the way. So I'm glad that I was able to remember this time.
Yeah, it was kind of hectic on Monday.
Yeah. So why don't we just go ahead and jump into it? Why don't you tell us a little bit about like your childhood and your relationship to religion, when you were a kid?
Well, I remember when I was growing up, till about 8 years old, I was actually going to the Baptist church. But my dad pulled us out whenever the the youth pastor decided to start teaching us that the earth was flat. It was only 6,000 years old. Yeah, this youth pastor actually didn't last long because of this. A lot of the parents got understandably mad, but my dad pulled us out when I was 8. But then when I was around 15, 16 years old, I decided to join the Mormon Church because my grandmother had recently passed away, and it was hard on my mom and my grandfather on that side of the family. So I decided, I'll try it out, try to, help her, grieving process move on, and mine as well, because I was trying to find, a little bit of meaning to it. And until I was around 26, I stayed in the Mormon Church, and then a lot of things happened at once, and I decided, no, I'm not, I just don't believe, because I never really truly believed. I mean, that's one thing that's really odd about my story, because I've listened to a lot of other, this, that, and they said, that there are foundations, which I never had a foundation. I mean, I just never believed.
Okay, yeah, I can totally empathize with that because, when I was growing up, I believed in the religion and I believed in God and everything like that, but I didn't really have a very solid connection to the religion. And oftentimes, I would feel embarrassed, actually, to, pray to God or to take part in any kind of religious activities. And so, a lot of times I would be forcing myself to actually take part in these religious activities. Your time as a Mormon, did you ever feel that way, that you were forcing yourself to, take part in things?
Yeah, quite a few times. Whenever I did a baptism I went and did the baptisms for the dead, I kind of just acted it out. And same thing whenever I did testimonials, I'd just kind of play along and just copy whatever everybody else said, because that's one thing about the Mormon faith. They will have time for what they're called testimonials, where anybody in the congregation can walk up and just affirm their faith, in front of everyone, and then just walk back, So it's basically like praying in front of everyone if you really consider it.
Yeah, it seems like just part of the show. Right? It seemed like it was very showy.
Yes, it was very showy. It's an echo chamber like any other.
Mm-hmm. So, I guess nothing really convinced you of the Mormon religion. You pretty much just joined it to help your grandmother. Am I understanding that correctly?
Well, I joined it to help my mother's side of the family, because, like I said, my grandmother had passed away at that.
Oh, okay. Okay, so what was it like, as a teenager, first getting into it? What did you have to do? Did you have to do anything special because you weren't sort of born into the religion?
Well, I had to get baptized, for one. I think I had my baptism ceremony in, I can't remember the month, but I know it was when I was 17 years old, about a year after I joined the church.
Okay. Now, I have to ask, do they like power bomb dunk you like I've seen some of these other people do, or is it different?
Well, for me, they just slowly lowered me into the water and then pulled me out.
Oh, okay.
It's a quick dip and pull you out.
I'm just imagining, like, you know how you see the Orthodox churches, they take the baby and it's like they're dunking them like they're freaking Lebowski, and and I just imagine them doing that to an adult. Which, if you look, you can actually find like these baptisms where it's like, I don't know, it's like extreme Christianity where they like fucking spear you and like dunk you in water and everything, and it's just like, it's not this serious, guys. Come on.
No, it was just a normal. I mean, they see now, they cradle you behind the head and they push you down on your chest and push you under the water. Wow. I mean, and every single bit of you has to be under the water too. I remember my mom saying when she was young, they baptized her, and every single time her foot would float up out the water, so they'd have to push her back in.
I see you trying to escape Jesus's grasp.
It's like her foot will say, no, don't do this.
Yeah, I'm having doubts here, guys.
This centered right on my foot.
So, after getting baptized, what's it like in general for, being a Mormon? Like, what did you have to go through? Because I know, like, Mormons, they have their missions that they go on where they're transported to, like, a totally different part of the country and they just go knock on doors all the time. And maybe that's a really sort of uninformed view of what happens. So, what exactly happens?
Well, I never went on a mission, so, I mean... I don't know that part, but my grandfather did. Oh wait, I'm gonna echo. But my grandfather did, and that's how he met my grandmother. Actually, was on a mission, so I wouldn't be here if it weren't for that. But as far as me, I didn't really have to do anything, to be honest. Just get baptized, and that was it. I mean, well, we did have family nights, which, it was just the family. There's nobody, allowed to come over that night. And we just sat and talked and had dinner. And yeah.
You sound riveted by that experience.
Yes, it's just the best thing to ever happen.
Now, did you like attend church regularly and everything?
Yeah, every Sunday.
I'm guessing that you found yourself thinking, this is some crazy shit, like, on occasion. Did you ever get that feeling while you were in church?
Well, it's hard to say because, like I said, I never really truly believed, but there was some crazy shit in the church. I mean, like the baptisms for the dead, for instance. I mean, that's been done to the death. People have, talked about that till the end of time. Well, they will be talking about that till the end of time, but yeah. Then there's the underwear.
Yeah. So I've heard multiple things about the underwear. For one, that like the teaching of the magical underwear is like very fringe in Mormonism, but yet they still feel like the temple garments are very sacred. They won't stop bullets, but apparently they make God happy.
I never understood that. I mean, it has to do with modesty. It has to do with modesty, as in not even underneath your normal clothes can you be naked.
I mean, I figured, like panties and an undershirt would suffice, but apparently you need the temple garments.
Yeah, it's to keep yourself clean and blah 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 blah.
I gotta wonder, are these temple garments like just like lined with lead? Not like really lined with lead, but I'm wondering if they're like a lead lined garment so that like God can't see your naughty bits.
Yeah, that's the idea. Yeah, actually, that is the idea, though. I mean, not even joking. That's the idea.
Nailed it. You had kind of an unconventional, I guess, experience inside the Mormon Church. At what point, like, at what point did you start to question? Like, was there any certain event that made you start questioning, or how did that start?
Well, I actually started asking I almost said bastard, the pastor questions, and he didn't like the questions I was asking. It was, like Adam and Eve, for instance, was it literal, or was it, allegorical? Or Noah's Ark, was it literal or allegorical? Then there's the question of abortion, which I saw, bitter water and, God going throughout Samaria, ripping babies out of women's bellies. I just questioned a lot of things, and the pastor didn't like it because he didn't have answers for them. And he just said, well, just ask God yourself and he'll give you an answer. I'm like, I have done that several times. I'm not getting a reply. Like, what's up?
Did you ever question, like, the origins of the Mormon religion?
Oh, yeah. Joseph Smith is, yeah. Yes, I have. Did back then, too, trust me, because I started looking into Joseph Smith and just, wow.
Yeah. So like, as I understand it, Joseph Smith, he, was convicted and even confessed to being like what was it? He falsely, said that he could find shit with these magical stones. And then, after he got caught and confessed and everything, he starts up a religion using the exact same tactic. What was their, like, explanation for this? Like, why? What did they say to get around the fact that he was, he confessed to being a I'm trying to think of the word.
Con artist.
Con artist. That's it. Con artist. Yeah.
They basically say it's it's classic persecution.
Okay.
I mean, they said that he was persecuted for his beliefs, and that's generally they just whitewash it with persecution.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I guess I don't know if you questioned him further on that, but because when he first got, like, arrested, jailed, and confessed, it was because he said that he could find shit that people could lose. So it's not exactly about his belief in God or anything like that. So it's interesting that they sort of twist it like that.
Yeah, well, that was my understanding of what they had said. So I mean, I don't think I really pressed it further after that, because that's the only answer I was going to get out, of it.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, honestly, you did a lot better than I did, because I called into the Mormon Hotline, and they were like, we're really only here to give our own personal testimony. And I'm like, oh, so you don't know about the origins of your religion. Interesting.
Yeah, they're very secretive, a bunch. they're
Just
quite
a little bit.
Especially, I mean, up until recently, hardly anyone heard about the baptisms for the dead, let alone what it entails. So, I mean, and the magic underwear, hardly anyone knew about that until quite recently.
Oh, really? I didn't realize it was just like a recent thing that people had uncovered.
I'm talking about recently, like within the past 10, 15 years. So.
Okay.
Like, because I can't remember when the religion started. It was back in the 1800s, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. It was the late 19th century.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly when everything started, but it wasn't until the 70s or 80s whenever anybody really spoke up, about things, because they were afraid to.
So now, Chrismer, I have to ask, did you wear magic underwear?
Yes, I did.
Did it prevent God from seeing your naughty bits?
God's a pervert, man. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if he's watching us 24/7, I mean, he's got to see everything.
Just one quick correction. So Mormonism was actually founded in the early 19th century, not the late. So that was bad on me. It was about 1820s, I think, is when he started to establish it. So interesting.
I know it was around the 1800s. I mean, that's it. I'm not a historian. I don't know everything about it. So,
I don't either. Like, I know a cursory overview of things, so me too. So I wouldn't expect you to know.
And all I know is my experience in the religion. So, I mean.
Well, speaking of that, like, what other experiences did you have while you were in the Mormon faith? Like, did you have anything that you would consider, like, unique or anything like that?
Well, when I was starting to leave the church, I noticed a lot more of the Mormon families starting to come by our home and try to convince me to stay. Which that's one thing they do to try to convince people to stay is they will visit you, you know, at your home whenever you're just, I mean, sitting around your house. And try to start talking to you and do like normal missionary work while, you know, and some people they do convince to come back. Some, like me, they don't.
Right. So, now, as you were leaving, you know, preparing to leave or whatnot, did you have to like meet with the elders of the Mormon church you were at, or what was that experience like?
When I was leaving, the elder did stop by one time to, you know, try to have this one last push to try to convince me to stay in the church. Because this was about a month after I stopped going. You know, he's asking me, you know, like, why are you leaving? Why are you leaving the church? You know, or are you just taking a break? Or do you have problems getting up here to the church?
I mean, is that like a serious reason that people use? Because I could just see it. It's like, well, you know, I can't really get up to the church right now, so I'm just going to quit being Mormon.
I don't know if that's a regular thing, but I mean, the church was around 50 miles away from where I lived, so yeah, it was quite a trek. It was quite a trek going from here to the church every Sunday.
Yeah, damn, that must have been hard. I mean, honestly, before I moved to where I'm at now, I had to go like 20 miles to work, and even then, that was kind of brutal.
Yeah, it got kind of brutal because well, see, what happened was first I went to a church that was around 10 to 15 miles away from where I lived. But that church had to be closed down because they didn't have enough members to justify paying for the building. So they moved everyone to the other church, which was about 50 miles away.
Okay. Well, that actually brings up another interesting point. Did you like donate the 10% of your income a year?
Yes, I did. It was 15%.
It was 15? I don't.
Yeah.
The biblical standard's 10, I thought.
Well, for some reason for us, I don't know if it's a normal Mormon thing or anything, but it's 15% it was 15% for us. Like I said, I don't know if that's normal or if that's nationwide or what.
Yeah. I can just see it right now. The priest or preacher or whatever's up there, he's like, guys, I just got revelation from God. You got to pay 5% more. Because, I mean, it seems like in the Mormon Church, these people get revelation from God, like, all the time. Like, all the time they're getting revelation from God about something. When, you know, they were being called out for being very racist and everything with their practices, and I believe it was like the 70s or the 80s, all of a sudden, God came down and was like, listen, guys, I am so sorry about this, but black people are just fucking normal, okay?
Yeah, until I think it was 1978, black people could not become tongue-tied, could not become a member of the Melchizedek priesthood.
That's a difficult word.
Melchizedek. It is a difficult word. Melchizedek was an angel, by the way, one of the angels. But they could not become a member of the priesthood, so they could join the church. They just couldn't be a priest. They couldn't go on a mission or anything.
Right. So, which, I mean, okay, so sticking on that topic a little bit, like, I really don't understand why any black, like, Mormons would exist prior to that point. Because I could see it's like, okay, I'll join your church. You can get my 15%. It's like, all right, but you just got to sit down, shut up, and listen in the audience. Hold on now. You talked about missions and shit where I can knock on doors and talk to people. That's just for the whiteys.
Yeah, pretty much. That's just like the Jehovah's Witnesses. There's only supposed to be 144,000 going to heaven. Then why?
Yeah. Well, it's so they can be born again on the new earth. God damn.
Oh, God. Don't even talk about oh, God, yeah. The whole endless celestial sex thing.
Well,
the new earth.
yeah. So, like, there's that Mormon cartoon that is out, and I'm wondering what is your opinion on that particular cartoon?
I actually did a video on that cartoon about last year, I think, actually, and most of it is very accurate. There's some parts that's a little bit, not true, just simply not true at all. But most of it is pretty accurate. I mean, you got to think about it. I believe it was a video put out by the Catholic Church in order to defame the Mormon Church.
Oh, really? Damn. You gotta love the infighting of the different versions of Christianity.
Oh yeah, the Catholics don't like the Christians don't like the Mormons. Nobody likes the Mormons.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I feel like the Catholic Church doesn't really have much ground to stand on because it's like, hey, they believe everybody's a god. You get your own planet, you can fuck people for eternity, and then the Mormons just got to be like, you know what? You fuck kids. It's like, boom, mic drop.
That's a thing. That when you die, you go to, if you are a Mormon and you die, you get to be in the celestial kingdom with God and Jesus and all this other stuff, and you get to have endless sex with whoever you were sealed with and populate another planet. Like, what?
That's a lot of fucking. Like, everybody loves to fuck, I'm sure. But, I mean, at some point, you're like, God damn it, I've got rug burn or something on my dick. Like, you gotta understand, like, you're populating an entire planet. That's one fucking gene pool. At some point, your kids are gonna come out with 3 eyes or something.
Or gray skin, or huge eyes, or...
Oh, what about those, I don't think that it's not because of incest, but the Kentucky Blue people. I don't know if you've seen. They get the blue skin. It's because of a certain I want to say this because of a certain protein or something that their body makes, and it's just like in their family. So it's like any other genetic thing. But a lot of people say that it was because they fucked each other all the time.
From my understanding, it was colloidal silver. Well, it was just that one dude I saw. He took way too much colloidal silver because someone had told him it was healthy, and he ended up with that blue skin.
But so now does the Jehovah's Witnesses, they have issues with sexual assault, because I brought up the whole sexual assault thing earlier with the Catholics. Now the Mormons, they have a lot of issues with like sex and everything like that. Did you have any experiences with that while you were in the church?
Not really, honestly, to be honest with you. But I'll tell you this. Mormon girls are kinky as fuck.
What?
Yeah, at least the ones I knew. I mean, they were just, God, I think all the sexual repression kind of works backwards, if you get what I'm saying.
Well, you mean like the stifling of it just piques their interest more, and they just, I guess they're a little bit more open to the kinkier side?
Yeah. Sexual repression never works because you'll always make them more horny, basically. It's just like the abstinence only education kind of makes it worse.
Yeah. Well, plus with abstinence-only education, you don't actually teach the kids about sex, and so they think, they just don't know how to properly, I guess, protect themselves while they have sex, and they're going to end up having sex anyway, so you might as well prepare them, right?
Oh, yeah. Because that's one thing the Mormon Church believed in, was teaching abstinence only. They say never have sex until you're sealed in the temple.
Well, Chrismer, I gotta say, that worked out really good for Mary. Or, wait, no, it didn't.
No, it didn't. No, it didn't. It didn't work out for Mary at all.
Isn't it crazy how they say that abstinence is the only kind of sex education you need when they believe in a deity that was born of a virgin that never had sex?
Yeah. Maybe they think that'll happen again. I don't know.
99% of the time, if you don't have sex, you will not have a kid. But there's an occasion where God will decide to fuck you.
Literally.
Yeah. So now, earlier we talked about how you started to question the faith and what really got your doubts going. At what point did you actually leave the Mormon Church? And when you did, what happened exactly?
Well, the visits stopped instantly. My parents, my mom, my grandparents, they decided, we're not going to force you, to believe in this. I don't like that you don't believe anymore, but we can't force you to believe in something you don't believe in. So I was lucky in that regard because my dad wasn't a Mormon. He was still a Baptist. He was just a stay-at-home Baptist. But honestly, that's about the only thing that did. That they just stopped coming by and stopped visiting us.
So I guess you didn't really have any sort of deep connections to the church. Like you didn't have any friends that were there that ended up shunning you or anything?
I had one friend there, and yes, he did shun me for the rest of the time, basically.
Wow.
I'd say hey to him, he wouldn't even respond. I mean, I'd walk up to the school hallways and say, "Hey, man, what's up?" And he just ignored me completely. And I got so used to it, I just didn't say hey to him anymore.
That's crazy how they do that. But I mean, that's why, that's one of the major reasons why Mormonism is considered a cult, is because they promote this in-group, out-group thinking, and they tell you to not interact with the out-group.
Yeah, that's a bad situation there, because if you leave, you're not part of the in-group anymore, and you're completely. I feel bad for actual Mormons that have had to go through families, shunning them, because I can only imagine how that feels. And that has happened. That does happen.
Right.
I'm just lucky it didn't happen to me.
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm glad you didn't really have to go through that, because I mean that would have been pretty bad for anybody. Now, when you decided that you were going to leave Mormonism, did you leave Mormonism and religion altogether, or did you transition out of that into a different version of Christianity?
When I left the Mormon Church, I pretty much left for good. I mean, I didn't go to any other religion. And I'm sorry I messed up earlier. I said school hall. I don't know what I was thinking. I met him. It wasn't in school. It was, where was it? I met him again. I can't remember. It's been so long ago. I can't remember. But I mean, I didn't transfer into any other religion. No, I actually started studying Taoism, a little bit of Shintoism, Buddhism, some other pagan religions. I did join a Wiccan coven later on, but yeah, that was interesting. That was actually interesting because the Wiccans were much more accepting of people than the Mormons are.
Yeah, well, I mean, I bet. I mean, Satanists, they're even the 10 Commandments for the Satanists, or the 10 principles that Satanists hold to, they're far better than the 10 Commandments. So it doesn't really surprise me that other religious ideas, other religions, are far better than Christianity is.
Oh yeah, Satanists. I mean. Actually, wasn't it 11 commandments Satanists have?
Maybe, I'm not sure. I just know that they're far better.
Except for the one about killing your enemies. That's kind of. I think that one was just a joke.
Oh, I would take it as a joke because they definitely talk a lot about your own personal freedoms and everything like that in it.
And about not raping people. That's always a.
Yeah, that's one thing God didn't think to put on his particular set.
I think one of them is don't always ask for consent or something like that.
Well, yeah, it just talks about, violating somebody without their consent or something in that way is a grievous. I don't know if they call it sin, but they definitely say it's wrong.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I have a completely different experience with the Mormon Church than anybody else, though. Because, I mean, I never got the shunning except for that one friend who's an asshole now.
So, what ended up convincing you? Was there any one certain thing, or was it just all of the different questions that you had about the religion in general that caused you to leave?
Mostly, it was all the inconsistencies in the in the Book of Mormon, the Bible, and in the Old Testament, New Testament, and it was all the contradictions, and just, I mean, plus there's the fact that there are two separate versions of the Book of Mormon. One that he wrote to begin with, and then was denied, and then he wrote it again. And just, it's like, how could they not see how the two versions are completely different, but yet they're the same? What?
Yeah, I know. That part kills me too. When I called into the Mormon Hotline, nobody had good answers for me as far as the history to the Mormonism goes.
No, they won't. They never will, because, like I said, it's actually quite secretive.
Yeah,
they're very secretive about their shit.
Oh yeah, I mean they're so bad that if one of their own personal like historians actually mentions something that goes against the narrative, they will shun and kick out the historian.
Oh yeah, but there's one positive factor in the Mormon Church. I'll actually give them this: they're great at genealogy. They can track down. No, I'm serious. They can track down ancestors from like 500-600 years ago. Because my grandfather was actually a genealogist in the Mormon Church.
Oh really?
Oh yeah, he was one of the head genealogists at the one in Florence, in South Carolina.
Oh wow.
So he had our entire family tree tracked down all the way back to when we were from Wales.
Oh really?
Oh yeah.
That's pretty cool. I don't know where I come from. I know that half of my family's from Puerto Rico.
Well, I'm part of the Weatherford family that it was either in Wales or shit, I can't remember the other. There was Wales and there was another town in England that the family comes from. But yeah, that was back in the 1600s.
Oh wow. Whew. Well, so at what point did you become an atheist, or did you realize that you were an atheist?
Well, I'm technically not an atheist.
Oh, okay. My bad. I'm sorry. I totally just assumed.
Yeah, well, I travel around in atheist circles, but I'm actually a pagan right now. Well, I don't know if I told you, but I'm an Epicurean. I follow the teachings of Epicurus, and that's one of the things, I mean, that goes along with being an Epicurean is a belief that there are non-local, non-specific gods that may exist. So they're not actually, any, of actual known origin, if that makes any sense.
Well, I mean, like, there's no way that I could disprove that, but you're also not on video telling people to suck that random god dick.
Oh, no. I'd never try to impose my beliefs on someone else.
Yeah.
Besides, it's as Epicurus said, if there are gods out there, they don't give a shit about us. So why we bother about them? Why we worry about their origins and their wants and needs?
Yeah. No, I think that's really good. I can't remember who said it, but they said that if well, it was something along the lines of, if God exists, then he would recognize like a just life or whatnot, and he wouldn't send you to hell just because you didn't believe in him. That's highly paraphrased, but
yeah, mine was too. I was wildly paraphrasing it.
Yeah, but yeah, I feel like if a God does exist out there, there's no way that, like, just because I don't believe in him because I don't have evidence to say that he does exist, I would hope he wouldn't burn me in hell for eternity for just, being skeptical. And I mean, if he would burn me in hell for being skeptical, then maybe I want to be burned in hell, because I don't want to be near that fuck.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, see, that's another thing about the Mormon faith. They don't typically believe in, a hell like the Christians do. They believe in outer darkness, where you're completely separated from God and Jesus and the angels and everything, and that you're just alone and separated from everything, which I don't know which is worse, actually, being the Christian version of hell or the Mormon version of quote unquote hell.
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, being alone and away from God, I mean, if you think about it, there's going to be more people that are there. I mean, you could probably feel your way around that darkness.
Just make sure you get consent before you feel around in that darkness.
I can just see it now. It's like, all right, I'm reaching out. I'm sorry if I grab a tit.
But that's it's still another insane belief. I mean, Mormons they have plenty of insane beliefs. Really.
Oh, yeah, they do. I hope that you wouldn't mind coming on again and talking about the Mormon beliefs, at least what you know about them. Because, I mean, today was more about getting to know you and, your story and everything. So, but yeah, I'm definitely going to bring you back on to talk more about Mormon shit.
Oh, yeah. It'd be nice to have, Drew's book reviews here, too, because I mean, he's a nice guy. He's a great guy. Drew was awesome. So is Reese. Reese is very knowledgeable about Joseph Smith's life too.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, Reese is a stand-up guy. I love him like a brother.
Yeah. Well, normally at the end of the interviews, I generally ask, is there anything that you would tell yourself, in the past, or just somebody in the similar position of questioning the Mormon faith or questioning their beliefs in general? What would be your best advice for them?
Don't fall for the bullshit. Just don't. Oh, and invest in Apple. But no, seriously though, just enjoy life, man. Don't, do things because you feel pressure to do things. Because that's generally what it was pressure. It was pressure from my parents and from my mother and my grandfather. But yeah.
What would be your best advice for somebody that's left the Mormon faith and is currently getting shunned by friends or family or anything like that in general?
Don't let it get to you, and try to find a new group of friends, ones that are more open and willing to actually be friends with you and for who you are, not what you believe.
I can't emphasize that more because, while they may shun you, they're not good enough for you. See, they want to act like you're not good enough for them, but it's really the other way around. They're not good enough to be friends with you, and you can always find better friends.
That's exactly. You can always find better friends. That's the truth.
Well, Chrismer, I really enjoyed having you on today, and I'll definitely be setting up a panel or something like that I can host here on the channel where we discuss, the Mormon faith in general, because I think that would be very, very interesting.
Oh yeah, that would be interesting. I definitely would show up for that.
All right, Chrismer, it was awesome having you here today. Do you want to tell everybody where they can find you or get in contact with you?
Well, my Twitter is currently suspended, but you can. I'm having that appealed right now, but you can contact me on Twitter at Jalazian, which is, I know that's a hard thing to say, but it's JALOZYIN. And you can contact me on Facebook at Christopher Evans. If you can find my avatar, that's me. I use the same avatar, and I'm also Chrismer on Discord.
Yeah, I'll have all of those links down in the description if you guys want to get in contact with Chrismer and ask him questions about, anything that we've discussed here. If you guys will, while you're down there, please leave us a comment. Let us know what you thought about this interview and about the Mormon faith in general. I would love to hear what you guys think about it. And while you're down there, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe if you have not subscribed yet. Don't forget to stand up and use your voice. Bye, heathens.